Hi everyone, Bruno here, and welcome to my channel on This and That. In this video, I'll be providing some thoughts on our current dystopian society. It is evident that we in the Western civilization have entered a post-Christian, neo-pagan, Marxist era. Slowly but surely, we have found ourselves in a dystopian society. We are truly living in a mix of 1984 and Brave New World, where if you give an honest opinion or give your own honest perspective on a certain topic, you will face repercussions. If your opinion and your views are not in line with the mainstream, you can be casted out. Be that in your workplace, with your friends, at a social event, or even your own family. You most likely will be excommunicated. Although it might not be as bad as in the novels 1984 and Brave New World, we are not far from it. And who knows, maybe in 50 years or 100 years, we will be a lot like it was in those books. Try think back how many times you would tell the truth or stand for what is right and be shot down and accused, which then, going forward, discouraged you to again present the truth and stand for what is right. I know in my case, a lot of times, you'd rather just withdraw because you don't want to face the accusations of the crowd and the people you're with, so you just keep your mouth shut. But again, it's probably not the right thing to do. I once heard in a movie a saying that when there is what people like to hear, there is what people want to hear, there's everything else, then there's the truth. Now, how accurate is that? Over the weekend, when I was catching up on my reading, I came across a speech from a Father Joseph McSorley, an American priest and superior general of the Paulist Fathers. Be you a Catholic or not, religious or not, stick around as you will find this useful and it will definitely help you going forward. This sermon was given in 1963, so well into the sexual revolution. You can imagine what a polarizing time that was in the 60s and 70s, probably similar to what it is now. Starting off with Father Joseph McSorley, quote, "No good man need be surprised if his motives are misinterpreted, if his unselfishness encounters scorn. Common experience shows that anyone who tells the truth, who denounces evil-doing, who withholds approval from influential sinners, must be prepared to pay the price of his boldness. In human history, Jesus stands out as the personification of moral courage. He finds few to imitate him. The sight of many a brave witness to the truth, worn down eventually by general censor and disapproval, makes us hesitate to challenge the verdict of the world and run the risk of the mob's ill will. If we are particularly sensitive to social praise and social blame, we find it almost impossible to cling loyally to principles which have become inexpedient because unpopular. It is harder, sometimes, to endure vilification and to risk the depressing process of smearing than to bear actual physical pain. Let me realize now that my profession of loyalty to Jesus implies readiness to serve truth, to support an unpopular, just cause, to defend an oppressed minority, to champion the inalienable rights even of those who have done wrong. I must bear witness to truths that are unpalatable to the mighty and distasteful to the crowd. I may not even passively endorse wrongdoing. I may not conceal my sympathy for what is right. I must be more concerned to please God than to fit into the framework of my neighbor's expectations. To be hated for doing good will never make me less Christ." Close quote. Now, how many people today are living a life like this? Not so many. It's the exact opposite, actually. So many people are caving in and they're just going with the flow and accepting the mainstream. And that is why a lot of people will argue that we are entering the 1984/Brave New World society, where everyone is on the same page and there is no dissent. People who are deviating from the mainstream are not necessarily being persecuted physically, as they would in the past, because there is no need to. Everyone's fearful of their jobs, being casted out, being excommunicated. And that brings us to our next comment, which is relevant here, from St. John Henry Newman, the Catholic English theologian, academic, intellectual, and philosopher amongst other things, who saw this possibility. I quote, "After all, perhaps it may not be a persecution of blood and death, but of craft and subtlety only, not of miracles, but of natural wonders and powers of human skill, human acquirements in the hands of the devil. Satan may adopt the more alarming weapons of deceit. He may hide himself. He may attempt to seduce us in little things, and so to move Christians not all at once, but by little and little from their true position." Close quote. What person can read this passage and then survey the dreadful prospect of the contemporary Western moral collapse without feeling a chill of terror? How far has each of us compromised in order to preserve our place within this order? That's a good question, and something we all should ponder on. I appreciate that the church is in shambles right now, and that people do not look to the Catholic Church as the moral authority anymore. There are certain church figures that you can still look to for wisdom, especially historical church figures, such as the ones I quoted in this video. Okay, that's it from me now. Please leave your comments below. I'd love to get your views on this. Hope you enjoyed this video. All the best, and talk soon.